Who should pay? Who should pay for dates, dinners, like that's always a big topic.
Yeah, that's a topic that we see everywhere. Like, I'm even wondering why it's such a big thing that people are always feel the need to be like one side should pay or the other, or there's like this rule. It just makes it so unnatural to me. Like every time I hear those conversations around like, well, if that person didn't pay, that means this, and that. I'm like, I don't know. It's a bit far-fetched a lot of the time, so I think it's nice to.
I mean, there's definitely like politics around it, and there's like ideas of people. They always debate online, like, how do you say it? It's like, yeah, it should be, traditional values will say that the man should pay. That's just been over time. And then I guess more recently, it's been, I think the traditional values are going against the idea of like, the men should be expected to pay, right? There's a lot of talk and heat online about it, and then there's a reality behind it.
Yeah, and quite often, like it's the funny part to me as well of like the people getting heated around that are usually not the most successful out there.
In that,
Yeah, and like in the dating field and stuff, it's usually people talking a lot about it. Like for me, there's probably one rule about dating is that there's no rule. There's no fixed rule. There shouldn't be any fixed rule. It's not such a big deal. Like it doesn't actually deserve tons of conversations, but we're actually doing today. We are discussing about it, but I think it's also to go back to something simple and showing that it should not be that complicated and that big of a deal, I guess, like that big of a not a question but problem.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, in a nutshell, like you should be able to just simplify it. And I guess the big argument around this is like who should pay on like the first date, or if it's the first date, because I think the thing that people are talking about online is like it's usually at the point in a dating phase. The two don't know what they are yet. They're, the guy, typically they explain that there's a hesitancy to pay for like such a big meal or for like an expensive meal without knowing if they're going to receive anything or if this person is going to be someone that they're with down the line.
Yeah.
And what I'd always say to them, don't spend more than you're able to on the first date. Go somewhere within reason. And then there's a counter to that, right? So there's always like a counter to everything. It's like, okay, if you choose to go somewhere cheaper, then you're like, you're kind of a cheapskate. So
no, but that's the thing. It's like,
that's the argument, though.
That's the argument, but that's because they're probably targeting the wrong people. They're aiming at the wrong people, or they're not looking. So if you're scared that the person you're taking on a date is going to consider you a cheapskate if you go somewhere cheap, that means you're not targeting the right person. Because someone who's just a decent human being, if you go somewhere cheap but like the date is very nice and the person's very pleasant and stuff, they're not going to be thinking you're a cheapskate if it's within your mean. I think most people are going to be okay with that. Like most decent people, they're going to be like, it's okay. Like we're still having a very nice exchange here. We're getting to know one another. And that's fine. And if someone judges you as a cheapskate for that, you didn't aim at the right person. That's my point. It's like that you're not meant to go further with that person anyway.
But that's the thing is like there's like people in real life, and then there's people online. Yeah, the internet. And it's like usually, it could be people from the internet that when they just meet people in real life, they don't have that same type of attitude or confrontation. They're just like, oh yeah, that's reasonable. Let's go out to eat. Like I'm out with a person. It's perfectly normal. Like we're not going anywhere terribly expensive. But the thing I guess where internet meets reality. It's like this viral video of the cheesecake date. It's like where someone wants to chase clout so much that they're willing to put their face out there to continue the conversation or to ignite the conversation, right? I grew up thinking the Cheesecake Factory was amazing. Yeah, Cheesecake Factory. I said the cheesecake place. Cheesecake Factory. So I always, whenever we got to go there, I was like, that's a good time. That's amazing. Like, and we were very fortunate to like go there.
Yeah, from what you told me, it's like, I don't know, the Cheesecake Factory.
They're going to copy Cheapskate. I mean, anybody who watches this, I guess.
But like you told me, it's not a fancy place, right? It's like a chain, a restaurant or something. Like, obviously, I think it's just common sense down the line. It's like, I wouldn't take someone to McDonald's on the first date, not because it's the cheap thing, just because it doesn't look nice. It doesn't feel nice. It's not a place where you want to like have an exchange with someone. It's loud most of the time. It's not even a matter of price. Like I could go, it's not even that cheap anymore, to be honest. I could go somewhere that's like the same cheap but looks much nicer. I'm not going to take and compare the price with McDonald's. If it's the same price, I don't care. The reason why I wouldn't take someone to McDonald's is not about the price. It's about the atmosphere and make a nice food. And my whole point being, if the Cheesecake Factory go in there, if the Cheesecake Factory is a place that caters that environment where it's like nice and pleasant and quiet enough that you can have an exchange with someone, a decent person is not going to be checking the menu and be like, not expensive enough. Like, I want to go somewhere else. I was like, no, if it's actually a nice place to have a nice exchange, the decent person's going to be okay with that. They're going to be like, okay, yeah, it's fine. It's not this thing where people get drunk in the afternoon just to have a burger and to like feel good.
So you're saying that, all right, so if we were going, when we went on our first date, and I invited you out to McDonald's, and I said, hey, let's... I did not, but... You're like, I don't remember that. No, but if I invited you to McDonald's, and I was like, hey, let's meet here, 7 p.m., bring a nice dress, like, how would...
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why I'm telling you. It's like McDonald's is just not...
You would have been like, what the hell, right?
Yeah, but not as in, he's a cheap ass, whatever.
What would you think?
I would just think it's not a nice place to get to know each other. Like, okay. McDonald's is pretty infamous for being that place. I don't know, especially in Paris. Like, I don't know, but it's like, that's where you get drunk at 3 a.m. to like get a comfy burger. That's the type of vibe. So I'm like, I don't want to spend the first day here. It's not a matter of price. I couldn't care less. Like, the thing is, it's like, actually our first date, it was a nice place. But it was a nice place.
Yeah, I thought it was nice.
It was nice. No, that's what I mean. It's like, it was nice. It was a fancy place. It wasn't fancy.
Yeah, it was reasonable, like, good food.
Exactly. It was a nice terrace. Like, it was just nice food, good tasting food. Like it was definitely, I would say it was average plus in terms of the price, if I remember well. But it wasn't like one of those fancy restaurant, which you don't need that. That's the thing. It's like, we just had a very nice moment at a terrace, at a nice table, staying for like hours, talking and stuff. I wasn't there like counting the pennies, or even like thinking, oh my God, he could have taken me to like a fancy, like that didn't even cross my mind, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I didn't think one bit we could have gone to that place where I could have worn like a fancy dress and felt like a princess and stuff. I was like, no, we're here to get to know each other, which I guess we're gonna get into also in the dynamic, like the paying dynamic, the who paid.
All right, I'll say this though, that I guess that date, for me, the rule is I invite you out somewhere, so I invited you out to dinner, so I knew I was going to pay that night. But
I fought.
Huh?
But I fought back.
No, I ended up paying.
You ended up paying.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing is like, yeah, she did, because I remember I knew I was going to pay, but I had a bit of nervousness because I remember.
A little bit here.
Oh, sorry. I remember I was a bit nervous because you started ordering wine on top of the dinner. For me, it's just like I'm American. I go to France, and it's a different kind of culture. Like you order like several. I mean, two. I think it was two glasses of wine. But I was like,
That's the minimum.
oh man. I was like, I was like, man, she's gonna order like three, and I'm gonna end up with this bill. But you're like, yeah, let's split it like right away. So for me, yeah, that's a great sign. But because I invited her out, and then several dates after that, um, you offered to we started splitting.
I paid the second one. What are you talking about? I paid
Oh, did you pay it?
I paid the second one. Yeah.
For some reason, I remember I was like, macho. You know, I thought I paid the second one.
No, I paid the second one. That's for sure. Because being French, I think there's this thing, and that's why I'm saying that there's plenty of French people that are also more traditional. There's everyone, like there's every type of people everywhere, right?
Yeah.
I would say there's also a lot of French people nowadays that are like kind of back to those traditional. I'm not all for it myself, but like good for them if they find each other. That I'm more for like those traditional values where like the guy pays or whatever. For me, I think I was more raised in this thing where it's like I make my own money. And it's not even that, actually. So I discussed with a friend quite recently. She's a bit more on the extreme than me. She's probably more on the feminist, real, good feminist end of things, where she's like, for me, I make it a point to split from the get-go. It's like, it's my rule. It's like, I don't want to be feeling any type of princess or anything. It's like, that's the way I function in life, and I want to function like that from the get-go. So she's like, you're not paying for me on my first date. Like that's just the way it goes.
That's how
she functions. Yeah, that's what she wants. We discussed it. I was like, I think I'm a bit less like that. But that being said, I wouldn't mind splitting the first date. I appreciated that you insisted. If you hadn't insisted, I would have been fine as well. That's the thing. It's I don't make a big deal out of it, but I appreciate the gesture of like, I want to make you feel a certain way, and I show you that. If you don't, that's completely fine. If you do, I feel good about it. That's all it is. But my point being, I have this French side to me that it's not fighting because I'm independent. It's not even that. It's more like thinking in terms of two decent human beings. I tend to be very empathetic that way, and I just put myself in the other's shoes, no matter what the situation. If you went to like several dates that month, let's say that we didn't end up with each other, and you go with like to like other few days.
It's expensive.
It's very expensive, and that's just like not a fair thing to impose on someone just because I'm worth it. It's like, no, there's a life. Everyone has a life, and I just want to think in terms of like two decent human beings. And I'm like, if you think that it went really well and that we can go on another date where I can make it up to you, not make it up to you, like I can also, get something to you on a second date or third date, and we just like start splitting naturally, then good. If you offer me, that's great. That's just like showing that you want to make me feel nice and stuff. That's great. If not, or even if you felt good, but you're like, let's just like keep it splitting and we just like go to future date, I'm fine with that too. I just tend to have this thing where I put myself in the other shoes. And I'm like, that would make me feel nice if someone offered me to pay, So let's just do that to other people.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, if I were to put myself in a woman's shoes, and like, and I do think of myself as an empathetic person, I would think, but like, still, if someone offered me a meal, I'd be like, I would be like, yeah. That's great. But then if I think two steps further, then that's where you get into this issue of expectations. Like, because someone pays the date, they think that they're going to go home with them.
Yeah, this I always make it extremely clear. It was actually, I think I told you that story like some years ago.
You make this clear?
Yeah.
Like how?
So I'll tell you. This story, I'm extremely explicit, actually. There's that time I was in New Zealand.
Because I don't remember you saying anything to me.
Really? Well,
I mean, not that we, that's private, but...
I'm pretty sure I've told you that's that's quite funny, but we were just like chilling at a bar with some friends, and then I just go to the actual bar, like ordering a pint of beer or something. Anyway, I'm at the counter, and then this guy coming next to me, and he made a comment that was like, I can't even remember what it was. Like, it wasn't inappropriate, but like probably kind of a bit pushy. You're just like not a great comment. And I just like turned to him. He didn't mean anything bad, but it was just quite drunk and a bit pushy. And I just turned to him and I'm like, that wasn't a very, like, just smiling, kind of laughing. I'm like, that's not a very nice thing to say, or like, that's not super appropriate, or whatever I said. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry if I'm just being drunk. It's like, I'm sorry, let me buy you a drink. And I was like, you don't need to. He's like, no, I want to. I'm like, just so you know, I'm gonna get that drink. You feel free to me. You won't get any further conversation. Like, that's
conversation.
Yeah, I was like, it's not gonna go any further. Like, we can talk for a second, but like, I'm gonna go back to my friends, and I'm gonna end up like enjoying my night away from you. I was like, so you don't have to. And he's like, no, it's okay. I just want to make up for like what I said. I was like, okay, cool, sweet. So you just like,
how long did the length of the drink last? Were you just like,
to the drink, and I went back to my phone.
So you didn't even talk to him? No. You're just like, okay, I'll accept the drink as apology. And then I'm up.
Because he pushed. Yeah, I told him like 5 times. I was like, you really don't have to, because I'm not going to spend time with you. Yeah. And don't expect anything.
That's clear. I think, as as guys tend to be, just a bit more straightforward in things. So you probably just was like, oh yeah, great. Yeah. But I wonder if that would be, I mean, he was French, right?
No, from New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Just Kiwi.
Even probably more, like they tend to be less, how do you say? Chill. Yeah, they're just chill about those things. They're like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he was very chill actually. He was like laughing and stuff, just like, yeah, go ahead, take your beer and go.
I just wonder if it would be the same thing in America, if I was in America. I honestly don't know.
Well, the thing is, I don't think the outcome would be the same. I think the person wouldn't get me the beer, which I don't care. That's the thing. It's like, I'd be like, don't get me a beer if you have any expectation in mind. And they'd be like, okay, I won't get you. And I'll be like, okay, sweet.
It's great. Honestly, you saying that beforehand is great for both people. It's like, it makes it clear to him nothing's happening. And then, maybe if you did that on, like, if women did that on dinner dates too. I don't know. I'm not saying they should, because like, you're inviting the person out, you're showing interest to get to know them. And I guess there's this issue of like transactional, like trying to figure that out is always tricky. It's just a really mixed bag,
That's why I'm kind of I kind of like I don't want to say rule, because again, there's no rule. Whatever you're comfortable with, you do. But I kind of like this idea of whoever invites pays, like invites full on. Right. If the woman is the one kind of pushing for it, don't be like, if you're the one asking someone twice, 3 times on date, and they're like, yeah, sure, let's go out, and then you're like, well, where's the money now?
What do you mean? So if a guy paid like a date for 3 times?
No, that's not it. If the girl asks the guy like a few times on a date, and then he ends up being like, yeah, cool. Like, if she's the one kind of pushing or asking, and then he ends up being like, yeah, sure, let's go. And then she just goes to the dinner and she's like, well, now you got to pay. It's like, no. You invited the person. Like, it's kind of it should be natural to be like, well, I invited you. Let me just like get this one.
Yeah.
And then if you enjoy that moment, we just go to another one later, and feel free to invite me or not. We can split. Like, it's okay. It's just, I don't like the idea overall of like counting the pennies. That's what it comes down.
I've actually been in that situation where a girl invited me, but I it is a bit of a pressure. Like when I was younger, I was like, I didn't have such a firm stance on what it should be. Like, maybe today I'd definitely be like, oh, let's split the bill, or I'd just be like, I'd take it, but it would be in a very friendly way. I'd just be like, yeah, all right, that was easy. But if someone invited me out like that, usually it would be at a very cheap place, right? So
you ended up paying that girl inviting you.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, it was definitely intended to be a date, and I was like, yeah, I'll pay it.
There's something I don't know, this exact scenario that you said where you were invited and you ended up paying, there's something to it that, and again, if it works for you, great. What it would make me feel to do that is literally like I'm just going for a nice cheap moment. I'm the cheap ass. It might be right. It just makes me feel like I'm a cheap ass. I'm just like, how can I get a free meal spending a nice time with someone? Oh, let me invite some people and then, like, get paid for it. Like, it's just, no, like, you initiated that thing. It'd be nice to split or to invite. Like,
Yeah, but I think it's, how do you say? It's like, it's the time of life. Like at that time, I think most guys would be lying if they said they didn't feel that pressure at some point in their life.
yeah.
Like going on a date and then it's like, who gets the bill? It's like, it's just a societal pressure.
I think it's particularly true in the US. Like, you guys make a big
chivalry
online.
Huh?
So I guess along the lines of what we just discussed about American views, it kind of also brings the question of, like, is there a cultural view to that? Would you say, like, on who pays first and stuff? Do you reckon, based on our experience, there would be like there's cultural differences in our perception of who should pay, how to deal with money and stuff?
Yeah, of course. There's maybe when I was growing up, the way for everyone, for most men, was the man pays everything. And then by the time like I even was 20, like the idea of splitting, like I had already been on a few dates where um, in high school, where we'd start splitting. We'd go somewhere, we'd split the bill, and it just wasn't. I didn't make a big deal of it. I think the younger generation doesn't make a big deal of it, and now with everything being online, it's just like I think we all tend to we're starting to think the same way about these things.
How is it that because we're talking about culture and like the way we were raised and stuff.
Yeah.
About money.
Yeah.
What changed for you to have your perspective switching from like you being a kid and thinking that it's normal for the guy to pay everything versus in your 20s, it came naturally to like split?
Maybe I would have to blame it on like who I was raised by. Like my grandparents, they have a very traditional like marriage. He pays for everything for her. She doesn't work. He brings home all the money. And it's the same way for my other uncles and yeah, it's the same situation. Like so for me that's like sort of ingrained because of who I was raised around, my family, and but then to flip things, like I was raised by a single mom, so I was obviously like all the bills and stuff growing up, she took care of. So it just I never lived. I kind of lived in both worlds.
That's kind of where I was going with that as well. It's like you actually grew up with a woman taking care of everything. So was her view that ideally a man should pay for everything? Or it sounds like quite the opposite.
100. Oh no. I mean 100%. I'm sure because she was raised by my grandpa. I mean, she grew up in a very traditional.
You can grow up to like literally the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like you can grow up to be in opposition to what you grew up with. Like some people, develop some values kind of against what they were raised by.
I would say probably not because she grew up in Jamaica, like her entire teen to adulthood. So they have also, still to this day, very much still the traditional mindset in terms of what a man should be in a household, right? And what role a woman should play in the household. So, yeah, I mean, there hasn't been anything that she's like, it hasn't been like an important point to her. We've had a pretty neutral like household. I think that's kind of shaped who I am as a person.
Yeah. So, and that's probably why, to be honest, you're quite I wouldn't say neutral, but you're like open-minded. Like you didn't get offended on our first date when I was like, let me get this one. We're not like, what? You should pick. Which if you had done that, we probably wouldn't be together today, to be honest. So that's good. You're just like
Imagine if I just outraged, like, you gonna pay my bill?
what? Starting opening up about his whole personality, like, what? Do you think you've been all anywhere else than in the kitchen? Do you think you should like pay for anything? I'm the man. Yeah, we probably wouldn't have had like a second
sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah, on my side I think it's definitely how I was raised plus probably quite cultural as well, even though it's evolving over time. I think the traditional views are sadly, in my opinion, going back to the front, how you say the front stage, yeah, on the front of the stage, like it's traditional views.
It's
are rising again,
like the forefront.
Forefront. That's what
Yeah,
it is.
it's like up front stage.
Yeah,
that makes
so
sense.
the traditional views are getting back to the forefront, unfortunately, but fortunately to me. But I do think that until few years ago in France, there would definitely be this, and it's in big cities. I don't want to say in France overall. I'm sure there's like more remote parts. It's like every country. As soon as you go to like more the countrysides and stuff, maybe traditions become a bit stronger. But in big cities, far as from, there's definitely this trend of like independent women, very independent. Like particularly, I think, because the French culture and the French traits, I guess, are very they're famously quite strong. Like we're quite stubborn, strong-minded. I don't know, like a bit not so likable in certain ways. And I think it goes also with like strong women like making up their mind, their own money, just like fighting for themselves and stuff. And
yeah, I would definitely say that more of like stand up for the point that you're making, putting your voice out there. That's definitely you. And
quite frankly,
in a good it's a good thing. Yeah, I mean it's a good thing.
But
I mean sometimes sometimes I'm like me trying to get little points across. It makes it difficult in retrospect because like I feel like sometimes I have to prove everything.
Which I have to happen. I make it for myself as well. Like I go per thing. Anyway, sticking to the money thing. Yeah, and I think it was also like my mom thing, definitely. To be like, she's always told us like she was very strong opinionated about that, telling us like you always make your own money. Doesn't mean that you can't choose the lifestyle that you want. If you want to go to lean towards more traditional, you can. But if it turns to crap, you have a backup option. And you need to have that backup option for yourself, which is like, don't let yourself get into a situation where you have no option. So I think it was always something that stayed in the back of my mind. It's like, I'm free to decide whatever I want. If I want to be a more traditional oriented person, and if I want it to be like, I only want to have part-time or like the lifestyle that I've chosen, right? We're not in the best financial situation right now. I'm free to do that, but I need to secure myself just as much as my partner secures himself, and we help each other. It's not like I depend on someone and that's it. And I aim for that. Like I would never aim at depending on someone or like rely on it. That's just not.
Yeah, and it's not a matter. I don't think it's a matter of like that's something you've chosen and that's what you're gonna like. I mean, yeah, if you choose it and you decide like I'm gonna stick with that, that means that your mindset's already geared towards living that way. It's okay with you. if if your mindset's not geared towards that and like you're not built that way, you can't do it for very long. Like depending on other people, there's part of you that's gonna. I mean, for me at least, and maybe I guess you have some opposition in that, but for me, there's been times where I depend on other people, and you can sort of lean on them, and to get to stand up to like move forward, and how do you say? I think that's okay, but I know it's not how I'm wired.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same thing you're talking about. It's getting help from people.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. That's not the same thing. I'm not talking about getting help as in like, yeah, sure, you rely on them for like a limited amount of time. I mean, you know that show that we watched, The Maid?
Yes.
Where she ends up having no backup option. Like she actually has to fight eventually because she's slowly losing her independence, being with that guy that works. She doesn't have much skills. That's something my mom always told me. She's like, make sure you have skills so that even if you decide not to work, you have a backup. If things turn to crap, you can go out there and fight for yourself. And it's like this girl in the show, The Maid.
Yeah.
She has a few skills, but she's never really worked. She's never like
she's like 20 something.
Yeah, she's like very young. Yeah. She's emotionally dependent, and she ends up being kind of physically dependent because this guy has a car. She hasn't. Like, and she's slowly kind of like getting less and less options.
Yeah.
And she's like, she doesn't have money, and he doesn't allow her to have a phone, so she has to like walk places and stuff. And it's like
that was a really good depiction, actually.
That's the situation that my mom always told me. Like, you never get in a situation where you are back against the wall and you would have to like struggle to get out of that hole. It's like you need to have some options, some skills, be nearby places, be in contact with some people that if you decided not to work and to rely on someone, I'm not going to judge you for that, but if things turn bad, you need to have options for yourself and like be able to fight for yourself and, you know, just get out of the situation for yourself as easily as possible, basically.
But how, I mean, so you're comparing it to the scene in The Maid. I guess that sort of depiction is like, that's like the worst case scenario, right? So your mom didn't have that in mind, right? But she...
What she did? Basically her point is like...
that's like very specific, right? It's like...
But it's not so specific. I think it's more common than we think.
Huh?
I think it's way more common, maybe not as bad, maybe not always violent, maybe not always this, but like when you're financially dependent, not all guys are like millionaires that have an entire salary to spend on you. So people are just like, okay, you know, to get the household to survive and stuff, but not enough for you to like go and enjoy your day, whatever. So you're just there like kind of waiting for them, waiting on them for anything. Even the fact of like waiting on someone for your budget, that's something she was always like, no. Like at what point do you want to be like discussing with someone and be like, okay, can I have my allowance for like going to do, I would like to buy like a bit of shopping. I would like to like, I'm going to get the groceries, but I also would like to get this, that okay? Like, just like never put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, it's messed up because it's like I think the guy tells her, I don't want you to work. I don't want you to pay for anything. Just take care of the child. But then when you're put into a position, there's something you want to do and you're having to ask for money, he decides when to budget, when not to budget.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just putting myself in the shoes, which I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be in that situation. I mean,
I wouldn't either.
Not that I know. But it's not, I can't imagine it'd be nice, you know.
How do you think we aligned on not expecting? Because basically our motto is like, don't expect from the other, right? If you get a gift from the other, if the other takes care of something, if we help each other, that's great.
Yeah.
But like, you don't want to be expecting either early dating or later on in the relationship and be like, you should pay for this, you should be doing that, you should like...
Well, also, I mean, there was not really much expectation.
Exactly. So my question being, how do you think it went for us? Like, how did we align on like not expecting? Did it just come naturally? Did we discuss it? Like, how did it happen?
Oh, did we? Yeah. It just happened naturally.
Yeah.
It was like the most natural thing. I was like, I sort of already had this. I guess it is a wiring in my head. I was like, I invited her. I'm gonna pay for the first date. And then for me, it's always like basically, we went on like several dates. Yeah. So if I kept, how do you say? If I kept inviting you to dates and paying for every single one of them, I'd eventually reach the point, because I was on a stipend at the time.
On what?
A stipend.
What's a stipend?
It's a small, monthly allowance that you get from university.
Yeah.
And because I was there and visiting the country, and I there's only so much times that basically I'm gonna reach the limit where I'm like, okay, either I invite you to some more free places, or I invite you to cheaper dates, but it was just, I think that's why I just moved on naturally, because naturally you were like, oh, I'll get the next one, and it was just fair. It was just like fair, like we're both not, I was still in university, your situation, you were moving country, and I think it just clicked. But honestly, I've been in 2 major relationships, and that's how it always was. Like,
I think back to the decent people. I think the decent people, like if it doesn't work that naturally, either because I'll say this though, with us, is like, that's one of the topic we didn't actually discuss early on. It just went naturally. But I have to say this, we did discuss some big points very early on in our relationship, and that works too. Like 2 options are possible, right? You can either like it just flows naturally, or you just make things clear between each other pretty early on, which we did for like all the big topics, like how do you see, we didn't say it like that. We didn't have an interview like, how do you see yourself in 5 years? But it was kind of the idea. It was like, we did have those big conversations like, do you want kids? Do you see yourself like moving together in a relationship or not? Like we really established those things like very early on in the relationship. In natural conversation, we didn't have like interviews, but we made
on the first date.
No, but it was probably honestly those conversations
first or
we had.
Second,
third or something, we discussed it. First, I think, because we were getting closer to our 30s, we were like, no time to waste. And second, because I think we were both mature enough that we understood that this conversation didn't mean, do you want to marry me now? But more like, what do you look for in a partner? How do you see a good relationship going? So that we knew whether we were aligned on that. And somehow we didn't have that with money, because it just came naturally, and I think it just happened naturally. But I would say that if it hadn't happened naturally, that's probably the approach that we would have had, because that's what we did for any topic that, was important. We just addressed them. We were like, how do we handle this, or how do you see this happening? Do I see this something similar? Do I see ways that we can align or not? And I think we did that in a smart way, that we were like, if something can't align, we're ready to go. Like in the early days, we were like, let's just assess the big questions, see if we see a future together in that. If yes, then let's keep trying and see if our personalities match and stuff. I think if we had addressed some things, like if you were like, oh, I never see myself living with a partner, and I was like, oh, I want to live with a partner. If we had these discussions and we were like adamant about them, we would have probably stopped. Like we just, we just like really assessed.
It's such a big thing that makes you uncomfortable, or you just can't live with. It's like, of course, it get to the point, or some people are just way more decisive. Like some people are just way more decisive than me. They're like, yep, that's like a no-go, and they just know that they wouldn't go any further on that. Then some people, I think they would try. They would try, like, and then just realize it's not working out.
Yeah, that can happen too. But I think it prevents this type of situation to discuss it.
People should do that. Yeah. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way. It's like sometimes people rather go through it and experience the pain.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why people end up in like relationships that they're not.
That's the thing. And
happy.
That's fine in a way, because again, there's no rules. But if there's one piece of advice I'd give to people, it's like try to not consider having big talks in the early days as like creepy, or many people, that's why they don't have these conversations. It's because they think like, oh, they're gonna think I'm crazy if I talk about kids on our like 3rd date. They're gonna think I want kids with it. It's like, no, just address it in a normal way. That's like, do you want kids in your life? Not with me. I'm not asking you, do you want kids with me right now? I'm asking you, do you picture yourself with kids? Because if you do want them and I don't want them, and vice versa, then there's a problem here. Let's not go further with that, And it's like, I think some people are just too scared to appear a certain way, or to appear creepy or whatever. And they just keep going and going and going until they experience that it doesn't work. like, and it makes it harder because it's like months or years down the line and you haven't discussed those things like before.
Yeah, it's I mean, I was there at a point where that was something like I probably wouldn't pick up, like, put on, like, question someone about, but I think it's okay to ask. Like, I think it should be okay to ask. Like, but I think the issue is that usually people probably don't, at a young age, they probably don't ask that. They probably ask sort of like projection questions, like, where are you going to school? Like, where are you going in general with your life? Like, it's just more basic. It's like, what university do you go to? What part of town do you live in? What do you want to do for work? It's those types of questions, rather than asking like something as deep as, do you want kids? Because usually everyone at that time, they don't know.
For us, we were like late 20s, early 30s. So it's like, I think it's
it was 2019, so
yes, I was like 29, 30 or something. I'm 34 now. It was getting to a point where it's like it gets important to talk. Yeah, it's like, it's not like you're 21 and of course you're not going to address the kids like really. You don't even think about it at that age. But it's like we were at an age where it's like some people want kids at that age, so you don't want to get into something if someone is like at a complete different stage in your life, or like you start knowing what you want when you're getting closer to your 30s. You start knowing what you want and what you don't want, so it makes sense to talk about it. You're like, okay, yeah. And I think one last thing I wanted to address about the money thing was something I see repeatedly on those either podcasts or social experiment or something is like, how much do you want your husband to make? Like, how much money do you want them? Like, what's your minimum? Like, thinking of numbers even before you expect any sort of values from your partner.
Yeah.
It's like, before I even get to know if they're good people or not, if they don't make that much money per year or per month, it's a no-go. And I'm like, when did it come to this first? And second, he'd be like the luckiest person to first look for this standard. And then it just so happens that you also stumbled on someone amazing. Like the statistics around that, I think, are pretty low.
So, amazing, like, personality.
Like a great person, yeah. It's like if you go with that approach, and then on top of that, you get someone great, but like you approach it through that lens, that would be super lucky. Like I did, because there's so many things that could make a person not so good. Like there's so many types of values that couldn't align with you. Like it's such a complex.
It's like those dream rom-coms.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, the girl from very humble origins meets this Prince Charming, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, that's not even saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying here like someone that makes a lot of money can't be a great person. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's like it's even like biased to say a great person. A great person couldn't be aligned with another great person because they don't align on certain things.
It's like amazing for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Amazing for you. It's like, it's already hard enough to find someone amazing for you that really aligns with everything you want to align with.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they would make like shit tons of money. It's like, if you go through that lens, you're kind of doomed to fail in the first place.
You're like zooming in on, you're looking past personality and putting monetary values first, right?
100%.
It's like you're going forward. Like, I mean, it depends. Like, some people look that way. Some people, that's where the lens starts. Financial, then personality. The average person who, like, especially when it comes to what I think women tend to value in relationships, it's more like it's more it's love, right? Love is important. Like, everyone wants to have this, how do you say, they want to have this relationship that reflects a loving relationship. So of course you're gonna look at things like, how do they make you feel, how do you say,
how they care for you.
Are you laughing? Are you enjoying your time together rather than just transaction, right? Transactional, because I think I've met a lot of guys who think transactionally. They're like, yeah, but I've got this, I've got this nice crib. I've got this nice place. I could take her out on, nice dates.
How could she not me?
How could she not want me?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And it's like, well, what I usually say that after they tell me this, I'd be like, well, maybe despite all that, she'll just want you. Or she won't.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And I was like, if she doesn't want you, just keep moving. It's like, you don't have to make a big deal of it.
The thing is, so 100%, the thing with what you just said is that I feel like it's also diminishing you guys so much to say that. Because it's almost like I have nothing else to offer as a person. How could she not want me? I have this belongings. So like,
You got this hot tub.
Yeah, I have this hot tub. I have this house. I have this car. How could she not want me? It's like, surely you've got a bit better to offer, like in yourself, as a person. It's like, it's so, how do you say it? Is it diminishing? It's like so
I would say, diminishing, devaluing.
Yeah, it's like, it's literally giving very little credit to what you can offer as a person. To say that the person's gonna like you for like whatever you have. Some people might, but again, you probably don't want to be with these people. Like,
and like we said the other day, outside,
I find this book.
This is where I think, like, there's not a lot of things that I agree that it's hard for me to admit that the younger generation is winning on things. But this is where I think their priority is actually set, because they what do they say? Riz, charisma, right? Charisma. They always say like, oh yeah, he's like Riz God or something like that. It's like the fact that they prioritize charisma, and it's like how you carry yourself. That speaks a lot on the, what is it, Gen Z's priorities, right? So.
Yeah. I'm sure that like they have great. We were probably gonna sound more and more over time like those old people. They're like, generations were better. I do think that the big win of our generation is the knowing of two different worlds. The before technology, the after technology, like how fast it grew during our childhood and teenage and stuff. But yeah, that's another topic for another time. Right? That was we covered a lot of points, right? That was pretty good. So I hope it brought.
We go get some food.
Time to enjoy our real and monies.
Yep. Right. That'll be it.
Send it there. Cool.
Deuces.